Okay, we are recording.
All right, and since I know we have folks here today who are overseas and it's very late there, I'm going to skip the initial stuff that I usually talk about. This is the Energy and Climate Action Committee in Amherst. I usually give an intro, which I will skip today, and we'll go right into the agenda because I think we have a lot to cover today. So the first thing we need is a note taker. Can I get a volunteer? Anyone
I can
please
do
volunteer while I close my window? Somebody decide.
I can do it.
Thank you, Tony.
Yeah.
All right, so Tony is our note taker. First item of business is always to look at the minutes from last time. Now, I have them here and I can share them. Give me just a second. Page width, I'm going to make them a little bigger. And now we just got an updated version of them, which I have not read yet. Can you tell us how they're different, Stephanie, while I'm getting this up? What changed?
I'm not sure if the ones I sent you originally were the correct minutes. So these are the minutes of July 2nd. So if you just put them on the screen.
Okay, we'll just go through them
that's fine.
quickly.
Yep.
Because I had looked at the last ones, but I haven't looked at these. And I looked at the last ones a few days ago. So here we go. First of all, let's make sure the people present are correct. Who was a minute taker last time? Anyone remember? Uh-oh.
I think it was me.
Andrew, okay.
I think. Yeah. Let me just see.
That sounds vaguely
Last time.
familiar.
Yeah, let's go with that. Yep.
We'll go with that.
I think I was I took notes last time. I just know I missed a meeting, but I think it didn't happen. So
so Stephanie, you want to go ahead and indicate that on this? We'll just talk through the minutes there. Now I should be able to make the change myself, but I'll just put an X here. Okay, review and vote on the minutes. We okayed the op-ed. It was submitted and published by the Gazette with my name up front again. I have no idea how to keep them from doing that. I did all sorts of contortions to try to get them to call it ECAC's letter and not my letter. They did sign it at the bottom, ECAC, but at the top it says Lori Goldner, potholes and climate change or something like that. They just don't get it. You have to put a name in, and I didn't even put my name in. I put, ECAC submitted by Lori Goldner, and they still stuck my name in because they need a name somewhere in there. Okay, we talked about education series. We did the Barstow tour since then. We'll talk about that today. Does this all look right to everyone? Any changes? So I keep running through it. Oh, yep, and there it is. Minutes respectfully submitted. When you're all done reading, if anyone wants me to page up or down, let me know, but someone go ahead and move to accept the minutes.
I move to accept the minutes.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, then I will stop sharing.
Okay, and in no particular order, Allison,
Yes.
McElrath,
Abstain.
Goldner,
Yes,
Roof,
Yes.
Linung.
Yes.
Okay, minutes are approved. Thank you.
okay, now we go and we take a look at the participants. Do we have a participant attendee? No. Now, were we supposed to have an attendee today, or is that going to be next time, Stephanie?
I thought it was going to be today. I sent her the link for the
Okay.
meeting and I told her about tonight's meeting, so
Maybe at the end of the meeting.
yeah.
Okay, so in that case, let's go on to the rest of this. So the next thing on the agenda is the op-ed submission. So I'm going to bring up, I hope I have them here, a couple of things. The problem with the op-ed is that the Gazette, it was 280 some odd words long, I think, or more even. And the Gazette has a limit of 250, which they ignored. But the Boston Globe is 200 and most other papers are 250. So there was a sentiment expressed last time that we should submit it all over the place. And I decided without doing some serious editing, I really couldn't, because they would edit it for us and I didn't want to risk that. So I made two versions of it, shorter and shortest. Let's start with shortest because it's the easiest one and I could just submit that one everywhere. Let me find shortest here. I will share shortest. That's the whole thing right there. And let me share this and see if we can have a quick consensus on whether or not this would be acceptable. Then we'll look at the slightly longer one. Where is it? One moment. Is it? I think this is it. Yeah, that's it. This is the shortest one. It's like 199 words or something like that. I can just read it or let you guys read it. Why don't we just let you guys read it? It's short enough. If you have a comment or you think it's okay, you want to change anything you change, you put a word in, you got to take a word out. But there is actually one thing I have discovered since last time that may be relevant is that there is an effort in the state to make polluters pay. There is a website called polluterspaymA.org that and the idea of this bill has been endorsed by several towns. Now, I don't know if it actually has a bill number yet. It has in the past. Let's see if I can find it. Come on. This bill has been introduced several times. I thought I wrote the number down, and of course, somehow I didn't. That's brilliant, Lori. Oh, come on. Jo Comerford has not recently endorsed it, but she did endorse it, I think, in the last in the last Congress, in the last version, 193rd or whatever it is in Massachusetts. Where is it?
Is it S2542? Or is that a
Let's
different
see.
one?
S2542. Let's see.
Or is that the other one?
No, that's a resiliency bill. That's different.
I'm just trying to find stuff you sent.
That's the bond one. I haven't sent this one yet, I think,
Oh, okay.
because this one didn't come from Mindy or Joe as an update. It's coming from, I'm going to share something else with you guys now. I'll share a website. Let me just do this. I'm going to stop sharing the letter for a second. I can find the share thing, which of course has gone away. Oh dear. I've lost it. It's
I'm-
hiding somewhere.
I'm finding something that's HB 872 and SB 481. That's a
hang-
polluters pay bill in Massachusetts.
Yeah, that's probably it.
I don't know how current it is.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to find out. I want to share something with you, but I can't find the Zoom share when I have too many windows open, disappears. And it has currently disappeared. And I'm trying to find the share toolbar. Oh, come on. I may have to just kill this window because it's just gone. Oh, there it is. I see it. No, it's not going to let me grab it. It's like I have to just kill the window. There, it went away. It went away, right?
Mhm.
Okay, good. And now I'm going to share something else if I can find it. Sorry, this is taking a bit. Share. Let's do this. So there's an organization called this, yes, I know. Okay, there's the sharing thing over there. Okay, polluterspayma.org. And they have, actually the main thing to notice, if we go back to their homepage, is that several municipalities have endorsed this effort recently. Where'd it go? I don't want the fact, I just want the main page. If we go to this main page and scroll down just a little bit, we find Somerville Council passes resolution in support. We find Brookline passes resolution in support. So I think we should be talking about a council resolution, that we should be drafting one for them to consider. I think that's important. So here it is, support of, these are the two numbers. H1014, S588. Thank you. So if I go here and I type those in, I come up with this. There we go. And I think this is something that we probably need to do something separate about. I don't think we need to change this letter right now. We could put these numbers in, but we could just leave it the way it is. This is not something that had, there was this hearing yesterday that I did not go to. It was a 4-hour-long hearing of the Energy and Utilities Joint Committee or something like that, the Massachusetts legislature. And they were taking testimony on a number of different bills, but I don't think this one was in there. Not to say that people couldn't say something about it, but I don't think this one was in there. They are still taking testimony. You can still write to them on a number of different things, including this, I would assume. But I think going back to the potholes and climate change thing, if I stop this share and bring this thing back up, I'm happy to go ahead and you know, a lot got taken out of here, in particular. What was there that it lost? I had to take out one of the thoughts about I forget what it was. The longer one had a couple more thoughts in it, but there just wasn't room for them. So let me share this again. Share. I think it's this one. Yeah. So if there are any other thoughts on this, should I go ahead and submit this to the Boston Globe or wherever I can?
I think it's good.
Okay, so this is the shortest one. Let's take a look at the slightly longer one. I think that has one additional thought in it somewhere. Let me see if I can find that one. Let me stop sharing on this one. And then we'll take a vote on whether or not I should go ahead and try to submit these. And notice at the bottom, share, I think it's this one. Yes. So this one is, oh wait, is that the same one? No, that's the same one, sorry. Stop share, let me close it. And now I won't make that mistake again. Share. Share, okay. I think this one I had room to leave this in. I could instead put the bill number in there. And notice I'm trying in all of these to put this as the byline, but I don't know if, since a person has to submit these, I'll try my best and we'll see what happens. So if folks would prefer, I can change this to a sentence, which I can wordsmith later, about the bill. If that would be a better thing to put in there about, let me make a note here so I don't forget. Would we prefer, you know, something about those bills here? Let folks know to contact their legislator to support these, and they can figure out how to get their legislator themselves.
Yeah, I like that. I think mentioning those bills would be helpful.
Okay,
And
all right. So we got one yes, we got any no's? All right, within the word limit of 250, I'll find a way to mention that, and I'll include this find my legislator if there's room. If not, I'll just include a link to the bill or something like that, or the bill number. All right, so I think if I'm gonna submit these, we probably need a vote just endorsing them. So do we have a move to go ahead and endorse?
I move.
And a second,
A second.
all right, and a vote,
Okay, McElrath,
Yes.
Goldner,
yes.
Roof,
yes,
Linung,
Yes.
Allison. Sorry, Don, you have to unmute. And we need you on camera if you can do it.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, good. If we have time at the end, we'll talk about, we'll talk more about this. But for now, let's move on. All right, so let me get rid of this. Save, okay. Onward. Next thing on the agenda, Barstow tour, really quick. We had a very nice Barstow tour. I'm gonna share a picture. Share. Whee! This is a photo of a bunch of us. A couple people had already left at this point, so I think we had about 15 or 17 there, maybe a couple more at the max. This is for those of you who haven't been there, this big black thing here is the digester. Vanguard Energy maintains it, so they didn't actually know a whole lot about the details of how it works or how much goop you need to make how much biogas. But it's interesting because they have an old diesel truck engine. This is the ingenuity of farmers, which never ceases to amaze me. So they have this giant vat of liquid food waste, animal waste. It's prepared for them. The soup mix that they get comes from Vanguard, rendered from food wastes in the valley. Also, they're part of the Cabot Cooperative, so they get all the dairy waste from other Cabot dairy farms. They're a dairy farm. And they have this giant anaerobic digester, which has these huge paddles, which mixes this stuff and digests it and makes methane out of it. Methane and fertilizer are the primary things they get out of it. The fertilizer they spread over the fields. The methane they use to power a converted diesel truck engine, which they have turned into an electric generator. And then they use the heat. It's a cogeneration plant. They use the leftover heat from using this giant engine to heat several buildings on their farm. So it's incredibly efficient. They started doing it, I think they said in the 1980s, that long ago, when milk prices fell, they needed to find a way to survive, and this was one of the things they did. So it's really quite ingenious, and a really good example of what you can do if you're determined and and have the wherewithal. I don't think this will solve large-scale energy problems, but this is a great example of, I think, what it means to, if you want an example of a renewable fuel, fuel of any sort, this is it. You take your local waste, you turn it back into fuel and fertilizer. That's renewable in my mind. This is a big win. And anyway, it was a good tour. I'll leave it at that, unless there are questions. It wasn't an official ECAC event, but you were all invited, and I thought I would mention something about this farm because I think it's quite remarkable what they're doing. So, all right. I'll leave that. Don, we had a question about that solar bill, the smart solar bill, how it affects people putting solar on their rooftops.
I'm really, really sorry, but I am in transit and I don't have anything with me. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I let Stephanie know that. So.
Oh, sorry. I didn't know that, or I would have taken it off the agenda. Sorry about that.
I left it on because we can always continue it, and which is what I noted, and I did actually forward it to you.
Oops. Maybe I didn't look at the most recent one. Is that possible?
I just forwarded you everyone who was having issues with making tonight's meeting.
Oh,
I forwarded
yeah.
you
You did
emails.
mention that. You did mention that. I didn't make the connection.
That's okay.
All right. So then on to education and outreach. Don, I'm expecting you probably don't have anything more on PACE either.
No.
Okay. Tony, you got anything? Coordination with local groups?
Just that I can confirm that Elevate is interested in doing another ECAC Elevate meeting for the fall, so we can start thinking about a good date for that to happen.
Is Elevate going to somehow continue, or is it just continuing as a community?
Just continuing as a community.
Okay.
Well, we can still get internal funding for events like these meetings from the university, but
Yes.
no outside funding.
Good. Okay. Good. All right. Then, yes, that would be a good thing to do. Continue that. Heat pumps. I have a request more than anything else, Stephanie, which is that it's clear to me that this is going on to the next agenda item, heat pumps. It's clear to me that Heat Smart Alliance and also the Northampton folks and me have more capacity to do heat pump coaching than we have clients. And I was sort of hoping that maybe we should talk about this offline, but that CET, the Amherst heat pump program is only for people doing 100% conversions. So presumably they're turning people away. And I do wish that somehow they would coordinate and send folks either to Heat Smart or to me or to the Northampton group, which will send people to me. So I don't know how to make that request formal or who to talk to about it, but.
Well, you tell me, and in my next meeting, which is, I believe, tomorrow, will convey that to CET,
Yeah.
but I don't think they've been turning a lot of people away. I think, the people that have been pursuing it have been people who are clearly trying to do an entire home conversion. I think there was only a few at the beginning, but I will actually convey that, excuse me, to Marina tomorrow.
All right, cool. Because we do have capacity as volunteers.
I will let her know that.
All right, and I don't have anything for climate resilient schools. We were gonna talk more about, somehow it didn't make it on here, or did it? Did the education and outreach, am I looking at the right agenda? Because we also had this. In education and outreach, we had this whole, now again, some of this is gonna have to wait, I think, until we have a full house again in the fall. But did we want to talk more about the education series ideas, or should we put that off till a little later? Maybe I'll just remind people about it. I'll do a quick reminder. There is a link that was shared a little while ago to this spreadsheet, which we can share again. Can you guys see that okay?
Mhm.
All right, and we sort of had some themes, individual topics that we might want to have a webinar on, or a series on, or a meeting of some sort on, some sort of an activity, something. And we had them divided into individual things that residents can do, which is sort of what we've done in the past with heat pumps and alternative transport for landlords, for renters. And we added to that encouraging activism and just getting the facts, informational seminars, what you need to know about things like nuclear power and small modular reactors, renewable fuels, offshore wind. We did the Barstar Farm Tour, sort of. It wasn't an ECAC event, but it's available and anyone can do one. We could do a UMass power plant tour. Anyone else have any? I mean, we should spend just a moment on this today, maybe, and wait until we have a full house again in September to really get going on it. But if there's any other, in particular, if you have ideas for not only a theme, an idea, a topic, but also somebody to be a speaker. We had a little bit of input here. Do we want to chat about this more today?
I wouldn't mind putting it off just so I actually have time to sit with it.
Okay. All right, so let's put this off. Okay, right, we'll do that. Let's make sure that makes it onto the agenda end of August or early September.
Put it on the next one, and if you don't get to it, you just continue it.
Okay, see who's here. I want to have more of the committee here.
Emily will not, just so you're aware, she won't be at the next meeting either, because she'll be.
Yeah. I should ask who else won't be at the next meeting. Maybe we should do that now real quick. Anyone?
What's the date of the next meeting?
Let's do that real quick.
13 days from that. Across
Right.
13th,
So when-
13th.
August 13th. Yeah.
August 13th. Let me just take
I will not be here.
Stephanie won't. Okay. Why don't, if Stephanie, if you're not going to be here, let's see, August 13th.
Yeah, it's not a good day for me either.
All right, why don't we just plan on skipping the next meeting and going right to the 27th, since we've sort of been doing that this summer anyway. I don't want to waste people's time with, waiting around in case. Why don't we just say the next meeting will be on the 27th in 4 weeks?
Great.
Okay,
Got it.
no meeting on the 13th, which is good because I was hoping to be bike riding that day, so that works out well. I'd be here if there were a meeting, but all right, so the next meeting will be the 27th. Onward, we sort of skipped around a bit. Let's go back to advisory and support. So now we're on the advisory and support part of the agenda. I don't have anything else to add about the UMass climate plan. There's rumblings going on, faculty, maybe locals trying to get together around it, but nothing much is happening. That's positive. They did put in for a grant. There was a Massachusetts-wide grant competition for government agencies like the universities that have energy transition needs. I forget the name of the exact grant, climate needs. And UMass basically applied for the entire pot of money to put in a single big steam generating air to steam heat pump, which exists with a decent COP. So now they're trying to figure out if that's their way forward. Maybe the way forward is to get steam generating heat pumps. So they want to try it anyway. So that was their proposal, which is good, but it doesn't get rid of the fact that they're burning fossil fuels and diesel and renewable diesel as well, and that they converted their clean burning methane plant to diesel, to dual fuel, which is something I'm surprised we haven't heard more about locally. All right, so there's that. Draft solar bylaw, anything more there, Steve?
No, I tried to look for the recent minutes, but I think being overseas, I can't access the Amherst Math website.
Yeah.
I can give you a quick one if you
Go
want
ahead.
one. So they hadn't reviewed it in quite a while, but at the last meeting last week, they went back to resuming what they had been doing, which is essentially just doing more wordsmithing, editing. So that process will continue for a bit. And there was some concern about incorporating the changes that the state is making. And I was asked about my opinion on getting language from the state into the local version, and I encouraged that they just continue on their own process, and that just really depends on the timing. I'm not sure whose version of what is going to come first, the state or the town. But my suggestion was to just wait, and if there is any significant impact to the local, that we can just edit it to reference the state. For instance, the state is going to potentially be requiring just one application. So in that case, the application that would be submitted would be the state application. So it would reference that.
Okay, so that's interesting. And I think that's another one of the bills that I've sort of been, I know about it, but I haven't really been looking at it. The solar siting, there's actually a siting bill in the current Congress, right? That they haven't, that they're still working
I
on.
can forward you information about, I send it to the whole ECAC.
Yeah,
So I'll forward that after the meeting.
I'm aware of it, but I've not been tracking it. I figured that's Steve, if anything interesting happens there, I would rely on you and Stephanie.
Given that Steve's away, I'll just send you the
Right.
information that I have to everyone.
Okay, thanks, Stephanie. Should we move on? Transportation, Tony, anything new?
Nothing new. I have just gotten a lot of newsletters about the Freedom to Move Act, which is occurring in Massachusetts. So apparently, Massachusetts and many other states are behind on their climate goals, and so they're looking into using public transportation and its various, I guess, means to reach those goals. That's as far as I know. I also know that it's got a lot of pushback from a lot of other programs because a lot of funding is going there and people are concerned as to why there's funding for that but not other things. But otherwise, no other updates in transportation.
Yeah, one of the things that was clear, I went to a Massachusetts Climate Action Network legislative update, and one thing that's clear is that everybody's getting less money this year. Money's down, and proportionally down, more than proportionally down for climate stuff. Which brings us to anything else with transportation? Not brings us to regional and state policy updates. So I have a lot of these. And some of them I'm really quite concerned about. So first of all, there's the Make Polluters Pay bills, which we were just looking at. That is, I just had them up here. S588.
Yeah.
And I thought there was an H1, but I'm not seeing it here in the 194th. And the question is, do we want to draft for next time? I don't think this is, I don't know how urgent this is. This wasn't on any of Joe Comerford's updates or Mindy Dome's. So I don't know how far along this bill is. But whether in this Congress, in this legislature or the next, I think perhaps this is something that the town should endorse. So does somebody want to offer to draft a statement, take a look at the statements done by those other two towns that are, there's probably more of them on that Make Polluters Pay Mass website, and maybe draft something for the town to consider?
I wouldn't mind doing that if you can, if there's a way to get the links that you had pulled up earlier.
Sure, I will, how about I just send them to you, Tony, and then if you can run with that, we'll talk about it next time.
Great.
If you have a draft before the next meeting, send it to Stephanie to distribute, or to me to distribute. Okay. That would be great. All right, so we can talk about that next time. My notes say, just for the record here, that, okay, so Tony will draft a resolution.
Do you want, I would put this as a separate agenda item, yes?
Yes, yes, for next time. Oh, yes, I do have the bill number in my notes here. Okay, so my notes also say that Mindy, but not Joe, is listed as a co-sponsor in 2025, 2026. Legislative, that's the current legislative session. Last updated March 19th, when I looked last week. Joe endorsed in 2023-24, but not this year. And I don't know what that means. I don't know if that means she just hasn't gotten to it yet this year, or endorsing it once in the past means endorsing it in the future. Northampton also supports it. I think they might have written their own draft, their own statement. So I'll try to send that. I'll send that link to everyone afterwards, or to Tony in particular, but I think everyone should probably have that Make Polluters Pay link. Okay, a couple of other things. And both of these I have some problems with. Senate Bill 2237 is an act defining clean energy. And Joe Comerford in particular has decided that she is, and this act excludes pumped hydro. Which I think is as in the definition of clean energy, which specifically means it is not eligible for state subsidies for clean energy. To which I say, what exactly
Hmm.
is the alternative? Because solar and wind are not alternatives to pump storage. Pump storage is batteries, is a battery. It's a way of shaving the peak. It's a way of dealing when, providing energy when the wind doesn't blow and the sun doesn't shine. And the only other real alternatives there are fuel burning power plants and battery storage. And I think it is personally, I think it is extremely short-sighted to not support pumped hydro. Now, this presumably doesn't affect First Light, doesn't affect the Northfield Mountain. There are other issues still around that, as we know. There's that's still got a ways to go before being relicensed, which is a problem too. But I actually sent Joe something, and I'm wondering if this is worth ECAC sticking its neck out a little and supporting or not, just sending her a note. Testimony is being taken until August 5th. So we don't have a lot of time. If we're going to do this, I think we need to do it like right now. And I didn't write anything for this. I don't know if this is something we should do on our own, if the town should be concerned about. I don't know. What do folks think? I can get a PDF file up that talks about some of this. Let's see.
Are there pump storage projects being planned or considered that this bill would affect?
That's a good question, and I don't know. And my fear is that this is a big NIMBY thing, right? This is nobody likes a top of the mountain to be used for a giant reservoir, just like nobody likes a forest to be shaved down to put solar up, but the alternatives are much worse. And so I don't know if there's a particular one that people are thinking about. And it's also worth noting, I mean, there's all sorts of regulations around. You can't just, shave the top off a mountain and put a pumped hydro station there. There's going to be all sorts of concerns. Even relicensing an old one has lots of hoops to jump through. But Joe is quite adamant that we got into a little back and forth by email, and she seemed to think that the Connecticut River watershed was on her side, whatever that means. I don't know if that's a particular group.
I just a cursory search. I think it's, environmentalists don't like that wildlife, like fish that passes through the storage facility. They get killed, just like windmills kill birds, So yeah, there's definitely a lot of environmental groups that are against this. I don't know if we're allowed to our personal feelings about this. I think that's very short-sighted. We have to have an all of the above strategy for fighting climate change and cleaning our power grid. And being too picky is harming us, because the alternatives are, like you said, what? Battery storage. Are we going to replace every single megawatt that we have from this with batteries? No, probably not in the short term. Yeah.
And it's a big NIMBY thing, because battery storage has its environmental impacts too. And some of them are, I think, quite a bit worse than cutting off the top of a mountain for a pump storage facility.
Can be, and probably more expensive.
Yeah. I'm not sure that a pump storage facility has the same downside to fish that a hydro dam does, because you are pumping water up. So you're not using the regular course of the river, right? You're taking the water and diverting it somewhere.
I mean, probably fish get sucked in when the turbines spin, and that's that's too bad. For the fish. Yeah, I mean, look, when we made the Quabbin Reservoir, we affected a lot of things Should we get rid of the Quabbin Reservoir? Like that's an argument reductio ad absurdum here, but like, at some point where do you draw the line of like, okay, how much do we want to think about the environment versus, climate change, which is going to kill a lot more fish.
Yeah. This is related, so since the deadline is August 5th, then we would need to draft a quick statement right now. Unless people really want to do that. I mean, I would love to see it. If we had met 2 weeks ago, I would have I would have been pushing on this, right? Let's do it. But time is short now, so I don't know. Do we want to just personally respond to this stuff, or do we want to respond as ECAC?
I think it carries more weight to respond as a group. I think it's fair for us to make our, as the group, I think we can make our preference known of what we want to see in this bill versus what we don't. I don't quite know, like, do we all have to unanimously agree? Yeah, we all have to vote on a response, right? So I think that's a proper use of ECAC.
Okay, so let me try to wordsmith something really. Anyone feel differently, or do we have consensus around that, or do?
No. I agree with that.
Okay, so ECAC supports defining pumped storage hydroelectric power as clean energy and subsidizing it as such. New installations. This is encouraging new installations. We note that the alternatives, such as battery storage and oil and gas burning power plants, the alternatives for shaving the peak, which is what they refer to this as, shaving the peak, such as battery storage and oil and gas burning power plants. Actually, I want to keep those in separate categories, such as battery storage. Let's say such as battery storage has its own.
I'm not sure. I don't know that you need to bring up battery storage.
Maybe we should just say everything else, all forms of, how about just all forms of storage have, I won't bring up anything else specifically. All forms of storage, something like that instead of energy storage, have energy storage, or what do we call it, or methods for shaving the peak.
I guess I would keep it more just positive and not have to mention any downsides. Just say that energy storage, like pump storage, is critical for helping reduce the dirtiest fuels, like coal.
Energy storage, or even any fossil fuels.
Yeah. Peaker plants, whatever.
Such
right,
as
the peaker plants.
Hydro is critical for, how do we say it? Reducing impacts from, we don't burn coal so much, so from fossil.
Yeah, you can keep it general.
Fuel burning power plants.
1% of our energy is coming from coal right now.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
it would be
so it's there, and that's what rises and falls along with oil.
Yeah. So it's a fossil fuel. So I think it's okay to call it from fossil fuel and coal. Should I keep
Yeah.
it just fossil?
No,
call
no,
it
just
fossil?
coal is a fossil fuel.
Okay, good,
You know,
good.
it's compacted life formed
Yeah.
over
Yeah.
millennia. Yeah.
So energy storage such as pumped hydro is critical. Let me make a quick.
I guess it's oil that's gone up in recent days during the heat waves
Mhm.
to meet high demand.
Yep. There was a concern at the MCAM meeting. I don't know if how this panned out, but one of the people at the MCAN legislative update said that their power had been turned off during one of the recent heat waves, and they were told by their electric provider, who I think might have been Eversource, that this was because of the demand. They needed to shut down the power grid in places. And if that's true, that's really bad.
Yeah.
And there was some concern that perhaps this person had misunderstood, but I never heard whether or not that turned out to be right. Anyone else have anything like that happen? I certainly didn't.
Not here. I mean, load shedding is a common thing used in an emergency. I
Right.
don't think we had an emergency. I mean, you can capacity plan, like we have plenty of capacity on the grid. I don't know. It's hard for me to believe that they were just shutting down power just because, I don't know, it's upper 90s. Like, it's
Yeah.
not an emergency.
There are places where they do that regularly, but I hadn't heard of them ever doing it here. So
Yeah.
that was the concern. Nobody had heard of them doing it here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it may have been voluntary load shedding at their facility.
Yeah, okay, let me see if I can just share. All right, so this is the statement I have so far, and I'll fill this out to say the Amherst Environmental and Climate Action Committee supports defining pumped storage hydroelectric power as clean energy and subsidizing such energy storage such as pumped hydro is critical for reducing impacts from fossil fuel burning power plants. Should we say something about, we recognize that all human endeavors, all energy storage has impacts?
No, I don't think. Yeah, I think
No?
keeping it positive is right. I think maybe mention that, like, so I think this, this facility was built to support the nuclear power plant, to store the energy that the nuclear power plant produces as baseload for later. The power plant, what was it, Vermont or something, was shut down, but
Yeah.
now we have solar, and it's energy storage is extremely important for making solar energy viable because it's not available at night. And so how do you
Okay,
translate maybe mention something about, like, it's critical for the, everyone supports solar, right?
Yeah.
So it's critical for supporting solar, something like that.
okay, I'm gonna put, I'll do work on a sentence right now, but first I want to make it really clear that this is about new pumped storage. The old First Light facility has its own issues.
Yeah.
It is not eligible for subsidies because it already exists. This is about subsidizing new types of storage in the state. And
Yep.
so far, as I don't think there's subsidizing much other than batteries, if that. So they're missing a big piece, right? Batteries alone aren't going to do it. So so
Yeah,
saying
that makes
something
sense.
about pumped storage plant is critical for reducing impacts. And then something about solar and wind. If we're going to make the most of solar and wind, we need ways to store it. How about something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we need an all of the above strategy. I think I've seen that phrase be used, and I think it's correct. We need an all of the above strategy to fight climate change. We can't pick and choose what clean means, or whatever. But yeah, like,
Yeah.
we can't be too picky.
How about that? To make the most of solar and wind power, we need an all of the above strategy to fight climate change.
That includes, and that should include, viable storage technologies such as pump storage.
Just pumped storage, pumped hydro storage. Okay, the Amherst, so it'll read like this: the Amherst Energy and Climate Action Committee supports defining pumped storage hydroelectric power as clean energy and subsidizing it as such. Energy storage, such as pumped hydro, is critical for reducing impacts from fossil fuel burning power plants. To make the most of solar and wind power, we need an all of the above strategy to fight climate change that includes viable storage technologies such as pumped hydroelectric storage.
I think we can take out one mention of pumped hydro. It's just worth saying it a lot. I know that's our focus.
Energy storage, this one or the last one?
Yeah, maybe that one. Energy storage is critical.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that reads better. Yeah.
Okay. So this will be submitted for testimony, and I'm going to CC Joe and Mindy on this. Right.
Mhm.
Okay, so if we like that and we're going to do that, then let's go ahead and I'll stop sharing. Any other changes? Let me save this while we're thinking about that. Save as, I need to browse. Let's see here. Hydro testimony. And I need to stick this in here. Today's folder, save. All right. Fine. Okay, so is there a move to accept this to, let's see, endorse this?
I move to endorse.
And I'll second that.
Okay, I'll stop sharing.
Gowrath,
Yes.
Goldner,
Yes.
Roof,
Yes.
Linung,
Yes.
Allison.
Yes.
Okay, good. So the only other thing I wanted to mention, and I don't think I want to put together a suggestion for this one, but I'll take suggestions if others feel differently. There's another bill. Okay, so there's the Act to Build Resiliency for Massachusetts Committee, and this is one that Massachusetts Communities, or the Mass Ready bill, that's another one that we should probably endorse, but I honestly think that one's going to be a bit of a no-brainer. That was the one I did make a simple, I did write a simple testimony for that one. So maybe we should talk about that. Okay, so there's an Act to Build Resiliency, also called the Mass Ready Act by Maura Healey, who initially suggested it. It's a bond bill, and it's a bond bill, and it also has in it, I believe, some changes to payments in lieu of taxes that won't really affect us much, because as it turns out, UMass has a separate private agreement with the town that is not a payment in lieu of taxes. It's not nearly enough. And I think there are separate bills to change that, but I'm not prepared to talk about those. So this is really a bond bill. Let's see if I can find some details for this. Includes streamlining permitting for priority housing, culvert replacements, salt marsh restoration projects. That was the original. Let me see if I can find. I had here somewhere a summary of it. I think it's here. That's the whole thing. Don't want the whole thing. I want the summary. Oh, come on. I had it up here. It has a bunch of stuff in it, mostly bond for climate resilience, right? Bonds for climate resilience. So it's not actually money. It's money we're promising to pay later, which is the only part of it that makes it a little controversial, right? It's the state will sell bonds to do these things. And these things are all climate resilience things, and they'll all eventually be paid for by taxpayers. So this is not the fair share, bill. Let me just see if I can find this one more time. It's Ready Act. No, I don't have it here handy. Any rate, one of the things that is in it. No, that's the affordability bill. This one's pretty much, I think, not terribly controversial except for the financial bit. So I also last time I think they're still taking testimony for this too. I'm not sure. It certainly can't hurt to send this to our representative, whether or not they're still taking, even when the window for testimony has closed, you can still send things to your representative. So I was going to suggest something like this. Let me share this. I don't know if we want to talk about this, if this is too much for one day or not. But there's a lot of these things and they're happening now and they all affect us, right? So I sent something to them separately that read a little bit like this. Can you guys see that? Did I share the right thing?
I can see it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay, it is being shared. Let me see if I can make it a little bigger. Do this and then do you. Let's do this. There we go. So I think this would have to be, since there's not really time to send it to the town, it would have to again be ECAC supports this. We really do have some of the, if you've looked up residential tax rates in the Commonwealth, we're like number 5 or something like that. We're up at the top there. I should say frequently closes, because I don't think it's closed yet this year, is it? Frequently closes for high bacteria counts, and its dam and dike considered a high hazard structure is in need of repair. That's the Puffer's Pond Dam, which has had some repair done to it, but it needs more. And they patch it and then leave it and patch it and then leave it. I think that's been the approach.
For the roads repeatedly destroyed by climate change. I mean, climate change is bad, but even if we didn't have climate change, our roads would be destroyed by cars, right?
Okay,
It's
so
cars mostly. Climate change
okay.
is exacerbating the problem for sure, but it's all of the cars that are driving everywhere.
Roads whose repaved roads whose deterioration is exacerbated.
Yeah, great. Okay.
Good call.
Thanks.
Lori, I have my hand up too.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Stephanie. Thank you.
Sure. In regards to the comment about our only public swimming area frequently closes for high bacteria counts,
Yeah.
I would say that was true last season, but that's not true this year, ironically, so
Right.
far. So I would say more recently has closed more frequently, but not.
Has a history of
No,
closing
because even
frequently.
because historically it hasn't. It was really only in the last few years that it's been closed this much.
And I have to be careful. It's not our only public swimming area because we have pools.
Right.
It's our only, what do I call it?
Natural water, natural swimming area.
Or only swimming
Is
pond.
It's not formed partially by the dam?
Yeah, it is. So it's not really natural.
It is, yeah.
Right. So, okay.
I know.
Only swimming pond.
Why don't you just name it? Why don't you just say Puffer's Pond frequent?
Yeah. Yeah.
True. Puffer's Pond
has maybe more recently closed, not so get out, maybe lose the word frequently and just say more recently closed due to high bacteria counts. Or been closed to swimming.
Closed.
Has increasingly in
Yeah, if not,
Yeah.
it's not closed now, but it certainly has increasingly closed. in the
Last year, yes, but
yeah.
again, I don't, there are
Okay.
reasons why I'm being careful about this.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
I'm asking you to be more careful in your language.
How about has increasingly been closed for high bacteria counts? I could say specifically most recently was closed in how, I could be specific and say which years it was closed. It's been closed for at least the last 3 or 4, right? Not this year.
I mean, not closed, because there were maybe a week or two last year where it was open.
No,
Or
last year it was it was a lot last year. It
yeah,
was
yeah.
more
It
than
was
a week.
most of last year. Yeah,
Most
yeah.
of last summer it was closed.
Oh no,
So,
I
you
meant
say
it,
that.
it was open for a week. It wasn't closed all year, but
right.
yeah.
How about we just say
Um,
Puffer's Pond was closed most of last summer. Puffer's Pond.
Maybe put
local-
2024 in parentheses,
Most of last summer.
just, to be clear.
Puffer's Pond, I'll also say our local cooling off spot, a local cooling off spot. How about that? Something like that, or a local swimming hole. A local swimming pond, that sounds good. Just so people who don't know what Puffer's Pond is. It was closed most of last summer for high bacteria counts, and its dam and dike, considered a high hazard structure in regards to possible flooding, is in need of repair. That I pulled off some state website.
Hmm.
Or town, I don't remember. And then just, we already said this at the beginning, so I don't know if I need to say that again. We should say something though. How about something like funds provided through S2542 might help.
I wouldn't say might help. They definitely help.
Will help.
Will
Yeah,
help. We hope if we get them right. It's probably a competitive process again.
Mhm.
Or deviate.
Lori, when you fix that, I'm gonna backtrack to another sentence earlier on.
Okay. Okay, go ahead.
In the sentence where you say, with 30,000 students in town, our efforts to promote electric and traditional biking or walking in lieu of automobiles are hindered
Sorry.
by roadways with no safe access for bikers or walkers. And instead of no funds, I would say limited funds.
Limited. Yes, I think the town would appreciate me not calling it no funds.
Yeah, that's why I'm trying to be more careful about the language because
Thank
we don't
you. Right.
want to exaggerate too much.
We don't want to exaggerate at all.
Yep.
So I want to be careful about that. It is interesting to me that both Puffer's Pond has been healthier this year, and in my own little neighborhood, we have a swimming pond. My neighborhood association maintains it, but they don't really do much other than test the water and have community cleanups of the gunk that collects in it. And this year, for some reason, it's almost free of weeds, of invasive weeds. I don't know what changed. If one of the neighbors isn't throwing phosphate down all over their lawn anymore or something, but it's way cleaner than it's been in years. We've never had to close it for bacteria. It's spring fed, I think. But it does get gummed up with weeds, and this year it's been spectacularly clean despite the really hot weather. So I think that's interesting. I don't know if that's a trend or just luck. In either case. Any other? Do we want to go ahead and submit this as testimony as well? And I'll try to find the H that goes with this. there a move to endorse it?
I move to endorse.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay.
Goldner,
Yes.
Roof,
Yes.
Linung,
Yes.
Allison,
Yes.
McElrath.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, the only other thing that I wanted to mention in the way of bills that are currently up, there's a lot of them this year, which is interesting. I mean, I think what's going on is a lot of different organizations are focusing on statewide things that they can do because the federal government is such a mess. So the only other thing that's there that I'm a little concerned about is the affordability bill, which has in it, so there's an energy affordability bill, which is a good thing. This is H4144. And a lot of it is to reduce prices on energy for those of us using heat pumps in particular. It does a bunch of different things to try to reduce costs. And one of the things it does is expand the types of energy. This doesn't necessarily reduce costs, but it also expands the types of energy that are allowed in the state. And in particular, we mentioned this last time, I think, in particular, nuclear is permitted. And in particular, small modular reactors are permitted. Now, small modular reactors don't actually exist yet, but there are designs for them. They could exist relatively quickly. They have all the same risks as a regular reactor, except these are newer designs and are way, way, way less risky than the nuclear plants that were built in based on designs done in the 50s and 60s. So the risk factor, I'm much more satisfied with. You know, I personally am okay with the amount of risk involved. The waste problems are the same, however, so there is that. But again, I would not have been a proponent of nuclear a couple of years ago even. What changed my mind was actually a class I taught where I went into some detail about different energy sources and energy in the energy transition and how that's going to work and what it's going to look like in your home and your transportation and your power grid. And when I got to nuclear, I read the Riot Act to my students. These were 25 freshmen. I read them the Riot Act about Chernobyl and Fukushima and how devastating nuclear disasters are. And we talked about risks and we talked about the design changes and we talked about small modular reactors, which are really not that different from, they're not different from bigger reactors. They're just smaller. They're the size of the UMass plant, for example. UMass could replace its power plant with a small modular reactor. It's just the right size. That would probably be the simplest thing for them to do in a lot of ways, if not the cheapest, necessarily the cheapest, depending on a lot of things. So the question is that I posed to students at the end of that little discussion was, what do you think? Would you support, you know, the building of these small modular reactors or of any reactors? And overwhelmingly, they supported nuclear energy. And that sort of was like a kick in the ass. I was really surprised, excuse my language. I was surprised, and I was surprised at their understanding. I think the thing that goes through their head is CO2 is an existential threat to this planet and nuclear waste isn't. It's a problem, you know, but it's not going to destroy the planet and cover, you know, kill people by create mass migration and war. So they were in favor of the development of nuclear power. Now, it's probably still expensive. It probably won't reduce costs. But I was personally a little bit distressed to see it, to see that MCAN and Joe are against it. MCAN, not necessarily. MCAN, we had a little bit of a discussion, and there was one person there, an older woman who's even older than me, who who was very adamantly against it. She'd been working against it her whole life, which is what I had been doing until recently. I don't know that this is something we need to talk about a lot more. I don't know. I think it's still too controversial for us to put something together as ECAC. But I would encourage you, if you have a feeling one way or the other, to submit some testimony on this affordability bill, H4144, and whatever the Senate equivalent is, if it's there yet. Joe is very clearly against nuclear, and I will be writing to her. I've already submitted some testimony on this, but I don't think I CC'd her on it. And that was all I had to say about legislative updates. There are a lot of them because I've been finding time to get more involved in this. And I do think it's something that ECAC should be, we should be doing these sorts of statements more regularly. I think that's something that a town committee should be doing. So. All right. Sorry to take up so much of the air here. Let's move on. And if there's anything else, any other? If not, I know it's getting very late in Europe there, Steve. So staff updates?
I really don't have anything major to update, so I'll just skip it for tonight.
Any other ECAC member updates? Okay, we had some items for the next agenda. And we can talk about those. You got those, Stephanie? We had the Tony's draft.
For the Make Polluters Pay bill, I also added the education series. And then I re-put the Smart 3.0 overview.
Yep, good.
Yeah.
And then also no meeting on the 13th. We'll reconvene.
Right, we'll reconvene on the 27th, I think it is. Right. Hopefully everybody will be back. And again, please, if you can't be at a meeting or even think you might not be, let Stephanie know. All right. Public comment, do we have a public? Nope.
Nope.
So maybe for the next meeting then, we will have our public comment from
Sabina.
Sabina.
I'll let her know that we don't have a meeting on the 13th.
Right. All right, then, do we have a move to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
Good night. Okay, in that case, if there's no objection,
Okay.
good night, Steve.
Good night. Good night.
Bye.
Good night,
Good night,
Steve.
everybody.
Bye-bye.
Safe travels, Dawn.
Thank you.
Safe
Bye-bye.
travels.
Bye.
Bye.